I just discovered something absolutely fascinating that I'm not sure many resellers know about, and that's with the custom SKU when it comes to managing your inventory. There's a search option that most of us ignore. If you just dig a little bit deeper into its functionality, there's a simple way you can manage your inventory that will save you time and money. Have you ever heard of the eBay Grim Reaper? He comes into your inventory at night and takes down all of your listings while you are sleeping. I asked all my friends about this and they all said the same thing. Around 3 a.m. on a Friday night, and all of our listings just disappear. They're whacked by the Reaper, the eBay Reaper. Now, I'm kidding about the eBay Grim Reaper. That does not exist. That is not a real thing. But don't you agree that sometimes your listings just vanish mysteriously? Unless you conduct a thorough inventory at least once a year, you will be missing items. You'll be missing profit, and it will take some time to figure out what is going on with all of these items. The fact is, most resellers probably have a lot of ways they manage your inventory and how they track it. I would imagine that some of you might even have a more effective ways to manage your inventory. I want to hear your solutions for tracking inventory. What is your best method? Do you use the custom label? How do you bin your items? What saves you time and money? Place these in the comments below, and I'll give a shout out to the top 3 in my next video. Now, most resellers I know use the custom label option when we are tracking inventory. Besides the ease with locating your inventory, we run into a couple of factors that can make or break this important process, and both of those come down to organization. The first is you should be using a systematic method within the custom SKU. This is my recommendation and probably the most effective. Make sure that you use systematic data every time you use the custom SKU label. Meaning, make sure that you use the same format. Believe me, I wish I did not have to follow this tedious process of adding this additional step, but it goes a long way. Now, the second thing has to do with the last digits in the custom label setup and taking a yearly inventory. When I asked my reselling friends what was the most important way to track your items, they said being able to locate bins and not items was the most important. This is the biggest time consumer when reviewing your inventory, and locating your bin is going to save you time and money. In general, I would guess that about 40% of resellers are tracking their inventory with the custom SKU label, and that less are tracking their bin setup, realistically, right? Kind of mind blowing when you think about it. It's the biggest factor in finding those listings that have been whacked by the eBay Grim Reaper, is having good organization. There are 2 important elements that I like to place within my custom SKU, and that is number 1, where I source the item, including the place, price, and year, and number 2, where it is located. Now, I think most resellers are placing the location, and that's all. Price paid for the item, but I think it's important to place your price paid for the item to track during tax season. Opinions might differ on this, but I have found this very effective. Now, to give you an example of this, see the active listings page right here in the example. The first details is how much I paid for the item. Second, this example is BBB. This is where I purchased the item. That means Bed Bath & Beyond. Next is the month and year that I purchased. I then placed a hyphen and continued to bin location. I divide each area by zone. A zone is a row of bins. After zone, I include bin by alphabetical order. This creates a simple process of finding my items when they sell. I love using this method because I get to be the hero and find items easier that have been removed from eBay or the eBay Grim Reaper. Or maybe an item was just not relisted after a canceled sale. So how do you do that? Well, like I said, make sure you schedule out time to conduct an inventory to account for every item that you have listed. Now, when is the best time to do this? I believe the best time to do this is during the summer slowdown. With a decrease in sales, it can help boost your eBay store by adjusting prices. You can adjust titles or anything else that you've missed in the past. After I complete this review, I changed the last number of my item's price. That way I know if I had accounted for that item in this particular inventory. I can easily look at an item and see if it's missing or unaccounted for. I use either a 97 or a 94. So if an item was 1994, I change it to 1997. Let's take a closer look at inventory. Now let's make inventory easier. Instead of looking up each item in the bin, would it not be easier to search for the bin itself? Absolutely. I'm going to teach you how to create a method in finding just the bin using the Manage Active Listings function. Go to Manage Active Listings, go to the search box, and change the title to Custom Label SKU. Then change is equal to contains. Then search for your bin. I'm easily able to find my zone and bin by typing zone 1 bin D or zone 5 bin F. Now there's definitely a caveat here. To make sure your search works, you need to include a hyphen if you list anything before the zone and bin number. If you include price, paid for the item, date of source, you will need to include this. If you do not include this, you can simply just use the bin number and zone, or however you label your bins. So the reason these two steps work is due to the fact that your inventory will always be accounted for easily. When conducting inventory, you can pull the zone and bin with ease and find your missing items. And by the way, you will find items that have been removed, finding more profit when you get these listed again quickly. This is a quick and free process that you can do once a year to boost your revenue, but you have to put time into it. So the best part of this is you can implement this into your current system regardless if you use custom labels or not. You can easily adjust how by clicking on the custom label on the active listings page, changing the zone and bin if needed. You can go back and enhance this process at any time. You can just take the old info out and place the new info in to be able to find your items with ease, and you're good to go. At that point, all you would need to do is be consistent. For whatever reason, we tend to not do hard things that might actually take a little bit of time. But the beauty about this is once you have this process established, it greatly reduces the time you spend on inventory accounting. So time, I would imagine you are wondering about time. I timed myself and I was able to complete one bin in 15 minutes. Now this bin had about 30 items inside, and this would definitely differ depending on the size of the bin you're counting. So it does not take that much time, but takes your effort to maintain. In my opinion, 100% worth it. I know when I'm done working my full-time job and it's the end of the day, I do not want to have to worry about missing items or trying to optimize my listings. This takes care of both of these yearly. As I mentioned before, you do not have to reinvent the wheel here for a better inventory tracking process. So I'm going to walk you through what we discussed so you can easily implement this process. Tip number 1, use a uniform custom SKU system. Don't place different types of information. Pick a set and stick with it. I will put what I recommend here, but please do what works best for you. Tip number 2, conduct your inventory during the summer slump or your slow time. Schedule the time and do not let anything get in your way. Physically touch each item, adjust and account for, or relist when you find those. Tip number 3, use that hyphen in your customer SKU if needed. Now, I did mention previously that I want to know how you are tracking your inventory. Please place your best methods in the comments, and I'm going to pick 3 and highlight them in my next video. I'm learning just like you. This is Jake from Let's Go Resell. Thanks for watching.